And everything that's online never mentions
I
a
never mentioned,
potential boyfriend because she's married and she has a couple of children.
Right.
Look at that. Take a look at it.
Looks like a car.
Oh, wow. That's something. Oh, shoot. Hold on. We almost ended up in him. Oh, I have a car. I'm not kidding you. Look at this. That is 100% a car in my mind. So today we are starting our day in Longview, Washington, looking for Phylis Lewellen. Now, Phylis went missing December 27th of 1996. Now, the case that we have, and we start looking at the information that we have on the Charlie Project, is not information that you've brought us new information. That's what I want to bring everybody into on this one. And let me just kind of jump into some of the information on the Charlie Project. We have Phylis Lewellen, who is missing since December 27th, 1996. She was from Kelso over here, not too far from here. Phylis was 36 years of age at the time, and what we have for information was the last place that she was seen was right here at the Baker corner store. Now that's where the story stops, and that's why we've never taken this case on until Kim reached out to us. And now let's kind of bring us into the story of, Kim, why do we have a direction and why are we going to Long Beach now?
Well, she was going down to meet my ex-brother-in-law, and I was with him the weekend that she was supposed to show up. He was all bent out of shape that she never showed up.
And everything that's online never mentions a potential boyfriend because she's married and she has a couple of children.
Right. And then my brother-in-law made me promise not to say anything to my sister, and didn't know what would happen there because they were still married but yet divorced.
Right.
So at any rate, she never showed up, so then my sister was a suspect.
Now this is where I have a little bit of confusion. So your sister, but ex-brother-in-law.
Uh-huh.
Now the two of them were married?
They were married, yeah.
So he was having an affair as well at the time, or how does this
No, they
play
were
out?
Separated at the time.
Okay.
They were separated at the time, so they were living in separate places, but Phylis had gone to Alice Charter Tavern in El Waco, where my sister was a bartender.
Okay.
Jeff went there a lot, and I think that's where they met up. So when he showed me a picture of Phylis and said that she didn't show up.
And so shortly after Phylis goes missing, now your sister and Jeff are questioned.
Being questioned, yes.
Okay.
Then, just in 2018, Longview detectives called me, and actually they called my daughter's phone and then said, you've got the wrong number because our numbers are just one off.
Okay.
And so when the detective called, Shantae, my daughter, said, they are calling about some girl went missing, and I said, I've been waiting for this call for 30 years. And then the sheriff's department said, okay, we want to come over and talk to you.
Right.
But I was so nervous being questioned in this that that I didn't tell him about Barb. I mean, they already know.
Right.
They already knew. But it's just bothered me ever since. And then I asked again the detective what her name was, which is Phylis, and I just figured her kids need closure. I need to know.
Now, do you think that prior to your sister, what you said, Barbara is her name?
Yes.
So do you think that prior to Barbara and Jeff being questioned, do you think that Phylis's husband knew anything about this affair?
I don't think so.
But he knows now. I mean, we would all assume.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I've tried to reach out, but I'm not getting.
And so for 30 years, because of the questioning back then as well as recently, you've always felt as though your sister and Jeff may have, or your sister particularly, may have had something to do with this.
Yes.
Until you started watching
your show. When I watched your show.
And now you said,
bingo.
This could be an accident and my sister may not have anything to do with it. And that's what brings us here today, is because, Matt, I want to bring you back, I want to bring you into this with us as well. You've seen Matt Moss with us on a couple of other occasions, and Matt is from the area, only about 15, 20 minutes from here, and he did a lot more research on it as to the weather the night before, the day of, and the day after that Phylis went missing. There was a big storm that came through here, which then brings us to the potential accident. Because we're going to start our day right here at Baker's Corner Store here. But this is Highway 4 that heads to Long Beach, Washington, which is about 45 minutes from here. What do you say? An hour?
About an hour, yeah.
Okay. And along that, we have the Columbia River, and the Columbia River separates Oregon from Washington, and the river is at least a mile, if not 2 miles wide, roughly at some points for the Columbia River. But we have, tell us about the weather conditions and coming off the road.
As I recall, the night before there was a snowstorm before her departure, and the day of, the weather was clear, but then immediately afterwards there was another storm that had come in, which I would have assumed hampered the work efforts for that search.
And so with that, we have a lot of potential locations where there are newer guardrails that were not there 30 years ago, as well as a lot of locations where there's still no guardrail that you could absolutely end up with an accident and end up in the river. Not too far from here on the 205 bridge a couple years ago, we had a gentleman that actually went up and over the concrete barrier into the river. So, anything is possible, we have learned with all these situations. And so that's where we're gonna start our day right here today. We have 2 days on this. Hopefully we only need the 1 day, and hopefully we're gonna solve this where it was nothing more than an accident and bring answers to Kim, get your sister off the hook on this. She's no longer with us.
She's no longer with us, and neither is Jeff.
Neither is Jeff.
Yeah.
And bring answers to Phylis's family, and fingers crossed, we'll bring her home today.
For families who have all but given up on finding their loved ones, this team is a last hope. Civilian divers cracking cold cases for free.
Matthew.
Yeah.
So, my question with this, so we were up at that other guardrail with Kim, and she says that guardrail has been there, or has been a guardrail there through the entire time. There was not one here?
Well, that's what I'm looking at right now.
That's what I'm remembering when I was a kid.
Matt also talked to some of the locals.
There was a guardrail here?
I remember when I was younger, we would go to the coast fishing, and sometimes we'd come back on this terrible highway instead of that one. And I just remember as a kid coming along here, seeing the Columbia River, and just thinking, wow, you could just fall off this road at any moment.
I think, Jared, I'm not sure.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's work today. Let's work on our most probable locations. So let's do the 41 to 39 here, and then let's continue on for any other open spots, and then we'll shoot to the north on those other routes that are possible. And then if we don't find her today at that, then I'd really want to run the entire stretch of this for any possible locations. All right, so let me bring everybody into the screen here. Many of you have seen sonar overviews, but I'm just gonna give you another short little sonar overview. Now today, our Garmin on this boat is not working, but that's okay, because right now I just need side imaging and down imaging. Now with the side imaging, we're casting 75 feet to the left and 75 feet to the right. Normally, we're gonna pick up an object like this, is what we're gonna do first, and then we'll come over the top of it and then check the height. Now this is not big enough, but what we're able to do is we're able to zoom in on it. We're able to scroll back if we need to and see if we missed anything. And then this one is our down imaging. Now you see the grid lines here, 18, 36, 54. We're looking for a vehicle, a Peugeot.
It's a European vehicle.
Right. And so that vehicle is going to be between 14 and 16 feet in length is what we're looking for today. So that's going to fill most of a grid line here. And then we'll be able to find the height on it as well. So you can see a nice big tree over here. You can see a tree here. You can see the height of the tree and the shadows through it. There looks like we might have a vehicle bearing.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, I don't think so. I think it's just the way that the shadow comes across of the hillside that drops down, but we're gonna go double check it. So it's over to our right, 54 feet. Yeah, nothing with any height there. And that's what we saw earlier. And not a car. Yeah, it's a tree. You can see it at that angle. Alright, I'll give you this for a little bit. Real easy reading today though, Byron. Nice smooth water, 21 feet deep, perfect depth for reading. Not too many big rocks. So behind you, you got a corner down there about a quarter mile. That one I'm really going to be interested in. Pretty much any corners are the higher probability targets. Alright, so I have an object over here. Now I was traveling at 5 miles per hour.
Stretch it out, right?
Which will actually make it shorter. The faster you go, it'll change the size of it and make it shorter.
Okay.
And so we're gonna go double check this target right here that looks like it could be a vehicle. I think it's too skinny to be a vehicle. I think it's just a bigger tree log. Holy crap, there's some sea lions there.
Sea lions.
Yeah, maybe that's what we saw.
Could have been.
I don't know. No, it would have been a different shadow.
About the size of a Peugeot.
Yeah.
Was it a sea lion?
I think it was a sea lion.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna scroll back to it and see. Look at that. Take a look at it.
Looks like a car.
Yeah. I gotta go find it again.
I have no idea though if it's a hatchback. Like I didn't even know that they had Peugeots in the US in '96.
Yeah, I don't know. No, see, there it is again. It's right off of that pole straight out here. And it's over 54 feet from there. So I'll give a side scan this way here. Let me see your camera here. So there's what I saw again. And now we're not seeing it. We should have already been over the top of it. Right off that telephone pole. Yeah, see, now we're not getting it. Oh. Alright, well that's going to call this section good. We'll head up past the RV now.
Right at that big rock? Right there?
Yeah.
In between the big rock and that log?
Well, it wasn't a big rock under here, I don't think. Here, let me show you what I was looking at here. Initially, I saw this right here, and so that's what we're trying to do is see if I can find it at a different angle and identify if it's a rock or a car. And see, here it is over here now. So too small to be a car. Alright, I got something out here, but I don't think it's big enough. So this is what we're going to head out to, but I think it's too skinny. Alright, so that's what we're looking at. So just the way the log was laying a different way. Alright, that one's clear. Yeah, still only 5 feet deep here. 5'6", 5'9", 5'7". The most shallow water we've ever found somebody. 6.5 feet of water. Car was 6 inches underwater. Couldn't see it. It was a green car in green water. All right. Well, there's one more object back there at that bend where that OSU chair was at. We'll go double check that and then head back to the RV. All right. Well, let's go back to the RV and move on up the road.
Well, what'd you see?
No cars, so we saw sea lions. So we can say with 100% certainty, there's no car in here. All right, so the news is no vehicle, 100%. Everything from the White House down there to where the hill goes up.
Oh, you went all the way down there?
To where this road starts to go up the grade.
Okay.
And there's also a section where there's no guardrail, and it got down to be a 14-foot hole and nothing there. We'll continue down the road towards Long Beach, and whether we take the junction to the right or we stay on 4, we'll make that decision at that time. But I think, my opinion, just looking at it, would she go north or would she stay on 4?
It all depends on what type of mood you're in when you get to that point, because if I don't want to go around the corners, I'm gonna go down, what is that road called? Lewis and Clark Road. But it's faster to go around the corner.
Let's take the weather into consideration. Which way would you go if it was snowy and icy?
I would take the Megler way, the Lewis and Clark Road.
Okay. Well, then let's do that. We'll stay on this road today, head in that direction. We'll just stop at every location we see. I know there's going to be another location that Matt and I saw last time where there's no guardrail for a bit, so we'll probably check that one, and we'll just keep knocking it out. Yeah, it's 13 feet deep, but I think it's too marshy if you were gonna go off. I mean, it is deep. So we'll leave this on the list, but I don't think we should hit it right now.
There's access to the waterway just where you turned around the first time.
I'm not in love with it though, because she's gonna be coming from that direction.
Yeah?
And I think by the time we walked in there, I think it's too marshy. So we'll leave it on the very end of our list. Boat launch there. There we go. 11 feet deep. Yeah, this is 10 feet deep in here. Yeah, definitely deceiving in here. You have the grass over here, and as we drove across the bridge right here, it's like, oh yeah, look how shallow it is in there. But then there's that channel that's in here, and where we're heading to is up along the riverbank up here. We're gonna go check all that out. And it's only 3.5 feet through here. Here's your road right here now. Yeah, 2 feet now, Cade. Yeah, we're at 6 feet now. Okay, see, we're right next to the road again now. Oh, and 11 feet here, let me see. Yeah, we'll go circle over that a little bit more. Yeah, right next to the road, no guardrail. And now we're down under 5 again. All right, let's head up further, because I think the road was next to it again more up there. I think that was all of it. I think it ends right there. The road is no longer next to it. So we cleared that. Let's go back to that one area though, and we'll scan that a little bit more. Where it got down to 11, 12 feet. I think we might have something worthwhile checking out in there. I think the road's a little too far here, but we're gonna check this stretch here. And I'll show you, we got 12 feet of depth here, 10 feet, 10 closer to shore here. Watch how it goes from 3 feet here. And we want it to be in the 10-foot hole. Come over just a little bit. And there it drops off. Yeah, all clear there. Well, we had some 11-foot holes next to the road, but no vehicles. But good to check them off. think for like the next couple of miles there's no guardrail. You can come off of here. Anyway, where that corner was at back there, I really want that corner there, but there was nowhere to park. And then we have the guardrail, but I don't know how long the guardrail has been there. And then you have the other side where the guardrail is at as well, but I don't know how long that one's been there. But I'm really interested in that corner up there. But we have to run, I think we have to run all the way past the bridge and up around the corner too, where the road is right next to it.
This should be a long search.
We're gonna sneak out through this hole here without banging on anything and sneak out through that other hole. And then the tide is currently going out, so that's gonna give us a little bit more speed than we want going downstream, but we should be all right because we're gonna be closer to shore. You can see all the fishing, the poles down there, the piers, the pilings. And so we'll come down just past them right there, and then that corner I'm really interested in, and then we'll scan for a couple miles down past the Astoria Bridge. It's actually deeper here than I thought. It's 25 feet right here, 28 feet.
What's our speed?
It is 4.9.
Okay. I tried to keep, even when I was in the current, below 4.2.
Yeah, like 2.5 to 3 is like a perfect for when you are identifying a target. If you're cruising in something, like 5 miles an hour is perfect to notice the shadows if you're dealing with like a smooth bottom. If you're over a bunch of rocks, then you gotta maintain that 2.5 to 3. But anyway, the 5 will give you the, oh hey, there's something there, now let me circle back and double check it. The reason why I don't dive on every car is because if we're looking for a truck, I'm not gonna dive on the cars. If I'm looking for a car, I'm not gonna dive on the trucks. So that helps me eliminate and stay efficient with my time, so that way I can keep plowing throughout the day. And then some of the vehicles, like if we're looking for something like say, 10 years, 5 years or newer, anything that I can identify as, oh, that's completely deteriorated, I know it's been in there for 30 to 40, 50 years, then I'm not gonna waste my time with that either. I'm in town for a limited period, limited time to help the next family, and so that's why I'm not checking every single vehicle. Even though there has been a couple of times now where we have dove on vehicles and unexpectedly found somebody that we were not expecting. So I'm going to try in 2024 to focus on pulling at least one car out a day while we're out there, if I can, just to help clean up the environment more.
Do you see something?
Yeah, but I think it's too round. I'll show you. That. I don't think it's big enough, but on live, it's quite interesting. But it's more square, unless it was on its side. Yeah, it's too small. All right, let's jump around the corner to the next section. All that water coming out of the retention on the other side. We noticed that when we were driving down the road. We're only 2 feet deep over here.
I was just gonna ask what the depth was.
Yeah. It's just a big pile of rocks. But we're gonna double check it because we were doing 6 miles an hour at that point with this current that was pushing us. Yeah, just rocks. Now we're down to 4 foot here, so that's gonna be too shallow. Let's see if we can break through these pylons here without snagging up on any, because we're down to 2.9 feet. Tell me if you spot one that I need to avoid. All right, let's put these up and head on down the river. Oh wow, that's something. back and take a look at that right there. Yeah, it's still to the right. Right about from there. So, let's back up. I gotta focus on it more. I need to give that to you. But this current kind of ripping. I need to get a reading on it. Too long. There's a boat. No, it's a big tree here. You can see right here. Come take a look. Come look. So.
Oh yeah.
It's big trees, but so there's the root ball.
Yeah.
There's the tree. All right. Well, not a car. We got something else. It was right in the same line, but now this is what I want to show you. Right here, Matt. So it's right across from where the tree was at. And if I can zoom in on that, see that? That's good size and shape, like the size of a car. It was a good 40, 50 feet in length.
Okay.
By the time you run the whole thing, here's where it is, right there, because we're still in 17 feet of water here. We just went over it. That's a rock. Back up over it just to make sure. Yeah, that's a rock. All right, we're good. Let's go double check this here. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it's a rock. A triangle rock. Ooh, all right, I gotta check this over here. Oh, I have a car. I'm not kidding you. Look at this. Right here, look at this. That is 100% a car in my mind. You don't see it? Of all the cars we've ever seen with you, you say that's a car?
Yeah. I mean, it's square, it's unnatural looking, but you know, we're taking a look at it at another angle.
All right, I'm gonna give you that while I focus on this, because we got, let me get some height on that. Actually, I didn't have any height on it before. Okay, wait, there we go. Nope, that's not it. Okay, that right there. No, I haven't gotten a size on it yet, because now I'm talking myself out of it being a car based on that second pass. But I gotta, with this current, I gotta try to get an angle on it to, we're in 9 feet of water, 8 feet of water, and right here's where it's at. It's not a car, it's a rock. It's just like all those rocks right there. Shoot. But I want to make sure I'm certain of it that it's a rock. Oh yeah, see at that angle, it's not at all. I've got it more of just the rock that we can see there now. And it's right next to all those other rocks right there. And nothing else. All right, well, we were hopeful for a second. For a second, Matt. Now, if you look behind you there, Matt, that is the Astoria Bridge. Goes from Astoria to Washington. To the left over there, over on Oregon, the Astoria side, home of the Goonies, Kindergarten Cop, and a couple other movies not worth mentioning. I mean, I'm sure they are, I just can't remember what they are. Do you remember?
Was Short Circuit that bad?
Was Short Circuit over there?
Yeah.
No, was it really? Huh.
And maybe Short Circuit too.
I didn't know that. We're also looking for the bridesmaid, Marty Evans, in a brown Ford Ranger who went missing in 1992. She'd been missing for 32 years. And we are stepping back over to work that case in the next day or two with the magnetometer, following up on a lead where somebody may have buried her in her vehicle on a Forest Service road because they had equipment that they were working with at the time up there. So we're gonna follow up on that lead. Some more history for you. With this bridge, clowns built this bridge. You know the history of that one, Matt?
No, I don't.
So if you go and you do the underground tour in Astoria, because the city burnt down a couple of times over the years, there was clowns. They were like prominent people in town. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Woo, look at those rocks right there. We almost ended up in them. Anyway, so prominent businessmen in town. Wow, this is like a little, wow, hold on. Wow, that dropped in a nice big hole too. Anyway, so they have been running ferries back and forth to get to the other side of Washington, to Washington over here. Well, they wanted to do more trade with the Washington over here, and so they decided if they were able to build a bridge, which when they did, it was also a toll bridge until it was paid off. However, so they had clowns that would travel through the state to raise money and awareness for the need for a bridge over here. Now, when it came time for the bridge to open up, the clowns were allowed to be a part of it, and they had like this great big station wagon type car. Now, the clowns were allowed to be a part of it, but they were put at the very back of it, even though they were the ones that raised all the money. So you have like the governor and the senator and, you know, all the politicians that are in the front. Well, this bridge at the other end goes up, not this side of it, but the far side of it, on the Oregon side. It goes up really high where the ships can get underneath of it. And so as the politicians are coming down the front of it there, the clowns at the very back, they said, you know what, we're not going to tolerate this, and what are they going to do to us? We're the ones that made this bridge possible. So they floored it from the very top, and the clowns are the ones that made it across the bridge. So they were the very first ones when the bridge opened. Go clowns. All right, so now at this point, nobody's going to get in across here. But anyway, we continue down this road here, and you can see the RV all the way down there. This road continues to go to Long Beach, Washington, which is where the story, supposedly, she was going to go meet up with Jeff up in Long Beach. So earlier today, we took a detour, not really a detour, there's two routes, and as we were talking to Kim this morning, which route would have been safer at the time, based on weather conditions, for Phylis to drive? Would it have been on the Lewis and Clark Highway here to go to Long Beach, or would she have stayed on Highway 4 to go to Long Beach? So that, we don't have the answer, and that's why we're doing the complete loop, so we can figure out, you know, all bodies of water that are possible, that might be possible for us to find her. All right, so we're not gonna have anything here. The beach is too far away. So let's kind of jet down to where the RV is at and any potential spots along the highway here. There's no boat ramp over there.
There is actually a boat ramp a long ways down, where I don't know where it is,
Yeah,
but
I don't wanna go a long ways.
Down by where we're gonna search. Yeah.
All right, let me see about a boat ramp. Hold on. Hey, we're gonna finish scanning the next 3 miles up to the boat ramp. Up to the boat ramp, okay. Yeah. So, no, I got it. So another half hour to an hour. Okay. Up to that. There's a marina and a boat ramp up there. So that way we can finish the highway, see if there's any entry points. 5 feet. Depth is only 6 feet, sometimes 7. We're at 8.5 right now. A lot of rocks though. And they're round rocks, so they're not cars. So you got the state park here. I would have thought that would have been close to the road over there where the cars are going, but that's completely dry with the tide out right now. Oh well, if you look on here, on the map, we go straight this way, there's a sandbar all the way through there. So it looks like we can kind of navigate a channel through here if we're smart enough, or we got to go around it this way and make sure that we miss it. So I would say, and we got to overshoot it anyway in order to hit the boat ramp. So I'm going to say let's swing wide on this then. No, that's not going to, no, 1.7 feet. Yeah, you want to bring that up. We might hit a pylon. Yeah, but you see the land right there. See how shallow it is?
Yeah.
Rocks are sticking out and you can see the sand. Well, we had one thing that we thought was a car. It turned out to be a great big rock. So that wraps up everything from Longview to Chinook today on from Highway 4, and then we took Lewis and Clark and stayed on the Columbia River. So tomorrow what we're gonna do is we're gonna stay the night here or in Ocean View or Long Beach tonight.
Okay.
Anything that we identify in 101 on up to the apartment of Jeff's apartment, we'll identify anything tonight and then plan on that first thing tomorrow, and then we'll work on Highway 4 back to the junction. We'll meet up over there and then we'll plan on the route back from there.
Okay, do you want us to meet you over there then?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay,
So just text me in the morning, same thing, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock?
Yeah,
Okay.
first start time, and we'll go
Okay.
from there.
All right then.
All right.
I'll talk to you in the morning.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
so
absolutely.
much. Thank you.
So here we are on day 2 looking for Phylis Lewellen, who went missing December 27th of 1996. Anything is possible after that, but yeah, we don't go down the foul play route. But now, since we've cleared all that up in this loop area, now we're heading back closer to the gas station. So now we're really gonna kind of start working some different 5-mile radiuses. Why did she also stop up at the gas station? We don't know what she bought. Did she buy gas or did she buy liquid courage? Give me a car, Matt, give me a car. So again, the big thing that I'm really interested in is gonna be to focus in on this pile of debris right there, which is right over on the other side of that tree. All right, it's really hard to tell if that's a car or not. We're gonna be almost right at the top of it. Let me drop a magnet on it and see if we can come up with that. But if you look right there on live, I mean, it's exactly 20 feet long. I don't know how long that car is.